Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. Today is the last day of May, May the 31st. It's 11 a.m. Central European time. We are live on this beautiful Friday, and we have a lot to go through. It's a different type of show today. We're going to have a lot of charts, a lot of graphs, and it's not going to be as newsy as it has been over the last few days. Why is that? Because you cannot get away from the Donald Trump verdict. It's all over X, it's all over the news. It has swamped the news today. So I literally gave up, and we're going to have lots of charts today and hopefully shed some light on where we get our information from, and also give you some clues as to where you can go and get that information as well. So as always, we are going to have the markets, we're going to go through some X-Files, we're going to have a look at Bitcoin versus the world. We're going to have a look at some charts, Bitcoin dominance, gold, we'll look at silver, we're going to look at the S1s, the deadline is today. We're going to look at the UK and the USA combining forces on blockchain regulation. We're going to deep dive into DeFi. We're going to look at AVAX. They've got some news that's come out that looks pretty interesting for their chain. And the headline of the day, Venus de Millionaire. That's the one. That's the killer. I did make a video yesterday about the Venus protocol, which has gone down like a lead balloon. Nobody's watched it, which is fine because it's one of those videos. It's an evergreen video. I'm going to go through Venus protocol and the token. I think it's a good shout, and a big thank. I can't delete your comment, Peter. It's fine. Listen, don't worry. We've all got thick skins. So we're going to go through Venus and then final thoughts. So a few shout outs to the people in chat today. Good morning, Mags, Bullish Bull, Only You, PWAC, Peter, good morning. Now, Jasmine and Maneki are pumping Happy Friday. Indeed, Happy Friday. Maneki was one of our picks a long time ago, and it's nice to see that it bottomed at about a cent, and now it is going up. We'll see that in the charts in a minute. Remember, there is a target for the channel by the end of this year. 200,000 fans by the end of the year. We're at 134,000. I think we might get close. I think so. But we'll have to wait and see. The headline of the day, of course, is Donald Musk. That is something we're going to cover in the X-Files in a second. And bottom right, still got a $74,000 target. Although Bitcoin is having a bit of a wobble at the moment. So we need to have a look at that. We're going to go through that. Good morning, Solo Sky. Right, let's go on to the markets. Now, what's my worry with Bitcoin? Well, we keep getting rejected. That's the worry. We rejected at 71,000. We got rejected at 70,000. We got rejected at 69,000 on, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? We got rejected at exactly 69. The problem. So we're going to have a quick look at the chart in a bit. But Bitcoin is coming in. We have got back over 68,000. That is the good news of the day. Ethereum is up 37.35. Markets in general are up just a touch. Volume is down negligibly. Bitcoin dominance 53.1. ETH 17.7. Between them, they always seem to stick around 70%. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. It never really veers from 70-75% of market cap. Now, 24-hour gainers. Beam is up. Jasmine is up. Audi is up. Arweave. Pepe. I believe there's been a few listings today on certain exchanges in Asia that's caused some prices to pump. Beam was at one that I picked out a while ago. I still hold a little bit of Beam. I think we did a Beam giveaway at one point as well. So Beam's doing exceptionally well. Pepe has recovered just a tad. Ondo, again, Brogan did his TA show last night, went through the charts. He doesn't think Ondo is going to drop at all. He thinks that it's just going to go up. So I might have to bite the bullet and buy Ondo at above $1. But there we go. Losers then, not a great deal of losers. A few down 4-5%. Celestia, Theta, Thor, Akash. Not really a lot of losers today. So nothing to really worry about too much. So the topic of the day, which isn't really a crypto-related topic, who will be the next president of the USA. We have 88% so far saying Donald Trump is going to win, and 12% saying Biden. I am not going to ignore what happened in America, but it's not technically to do with crypto. All I will say is that I think that verdict last night has handed the election to Donald Trump, because everybody in America with half a brain realizes that it has been a stitch-up, and you shouldn't, especially in an election year, you shouldn't go after your political adversaries, because that makes America no better than Russia, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion. Now then, back to crypto. BlackRock and Fidelity now own 451,000 Bitcoin, worth $31 billion. These ETFs now hold 237,000 more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy. Why is that important? 450 Bitcoin a day are being produced. 450 a day. They've bought 451,000. So they have bought 1,000 days worth of Bitcoin in 2 or 3 months. It's unsustainable at this rate. Again, I keep saying this, the supply shock of ages is going to happen in the next 18 months, maybe sooner. And Ethereum as well, don't forget. Why do people delete their tweets? That's what I want to know. What's what I want to know. Let's move on then. We'll skip that one for a second. Now, this has proved to be fake news, as Donald Trump would say. Elon Musk is not advising Donald Trump on crypto policies, so Bloomberg are incorrect. The actual person I am aware of is the owner of Bitcoin Magazine. That's the only person I know that has been advising Donald Trump on his crypto strategy, not Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not the person to go to on crypto strategy, really, is he? He's not the right person. He should be talking to maybe Michael Saylor, although he's very biased. Maybe he should be talking to a group of individuals. Who knows? But it certainly shouldn't be Elon Musk. Now, last X-File then. I have got a lot to get through, so I'm going to whiz through these. Jupiter has gone past 10 million visitors, ranking it as the 82nd most visited website in America. That shows the size of Jupiter. If you haven't got a bag of Jupiter, go and do some research and go and look at Jupiter. I'm not going to keep going on about it, but when it's at $3, $4, $5, I'm not going to say I told you so either, but this coin is undervalued in my opinion. Now, we are going to get on to the charts. We have a lot of charts to go through at the beginning, and that's because I want to kind of give you, there's a lot of arguments on Twitter about Bitcoin compared to other assets, and I think some people are very short-sighted when it comes to how to value Bitcoin as an investment. Should you be investing in gold or silver or Bitcoin or stocks and shares? There's a huge argument, and everybody has their own motivation for saying what they're saying. That's the first thing to bear in mind. So we're going to go through Bitcoin dominance, we're going to go through gold, and we're going to go through silver in a second, just to show you. And we've gone back to the start of last year as well. So we've maybe even the year before. So we've gone back a fair old way. We're not doing it over the last couple of months because that would be unfair. But let's start with the Bitcoin chart. Now, I am very worried that we are starting to put in lower highs. And I did kind of allude yesterday to this. There's always more than one way to read a chart. I could look at the higher lows. I could suggest that maybe that this is some kind of potential bull pennant, and maybe we can see this kind of action, which would take us up towards 77,000. That's still on the cards. That's why you'll never see the same opinion from people when you look at charts. I'm of the belief that we are now struggling at a lower level than where we were struggling back here. We obviously had our wick up. We've then struggled at this level, which is the 71,000. And now we're struggling at this level, which is the 69.4. We actually hit 69.5 exactly on a few exchanges. So we are finding resistance lower and lower. There are no buy orders in the market at the minute. The market is very quiet, and we are at a point where we need some stimulus to pump the market, because if not, I think we are going to start to look at doing something like this. Now, it's not the end of the world. We bounced off here, over here. We've come up, we've kind of had this head and shoulders, I suppose. That didn't play out as well as we expected. Some people are talking about the potential for it being a cup and handle. I don't know. All I know is that we don't seem to have the strength to go higher. And the market, the ETF market is not to blame for this. The ETF market is doing its job. It's buying Bitcoin, and it's buying it at a decent rate. So there is demand in the market, but we're not seeing the price action. And I think maybe we need to consider that we are going to start to do this for a while before breaking, but we could come to the downside. I was expecting a move up this week, and it hasn't materialized. We haven't seen a move to 70,000 since the let's have a look. Since Monday. We got rejected on Monday, we got rejected again on Wednesday, and we got rejected yesterday. Three sets of rejections over the last week. But that period there, which was last week, that's when I thought we were going to break towards 74, and we didn't. So we need to work out where we're going to go. And when I say we, I mean Bitcoin. So I'm not overly there may be, I mean, the news on the horizon that could break Bitcoin up is, of course, the S1Ss that we're going to talk about today. And that's the Ethereum ETF submissions. It's the last form that has to go in. Now, again, I think they're going to go live on July the 4th, because everybody in America loves a significant date. Today is May the 31st. I think on Tuesday, after they've spent Monday assessing them, I think on Tuesday we will be on the 4th of June. Now, from what I remember from the Bitcoin ETFs, I think that takes maybe a month to actually get them live. So I think June the 4th, Tuesday, we're going to get the news that they're going to be approved in a month's time. And July the 4th will be the day that they go live. That's the next trigger, and I think the next leg up. So maybe we will stay in this range until next week, and maybe we do this. That's what I'm hoping for. But again, I expected us to be a lot higher than where we are now. Now, the other thing we need to look at is Bitcoin dominance. Now, this indicates whether Bitcoin is outperforming the market, or if it's outperforming the major cryptos. Because Bitcoin dominance is the percentage of all of crypto and what percentage Bitcoin is of that. So as of today, Bitcoin is 54.5% of crypto. You can't see it on the screen, so if I drag the screen just this way a little bit, you will see the chart. There we go. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Now you should be able to see it a little bit clearer. There you go. So Bitcoin is 54.5% of the market. And ever since, we can go all the way back to here. So from November 2022, which is about 18 months, Bitcoin has followed this progression and has slowly been gaining momentum. It found this barrier here, and then it broke up as high as 56%. And what did we do? We have come straight back to our line. And why did we come back to our line? Because Ethereum broke. Ethereum broke it here, that the ETF was going to come out, and we've come back down to the line. So for me, we're still on this trend line. We're still moving up, and this line across here, which is 60%, this is where I think we're going to reach. And according to that, this is January next year. So I think over the rest of this year, over the next 7 months, 6 months, we are just going to keep doing this in Bitcoin. And there's nothing to indicate a break in that. The only thing that would damage this is the Ethereum ETF. So why is this important? It means that Bitcoin on the whole is going to outperform the majority of the market. If Bitcoin is 54% today and it's going to go to 60% in the next 7 months, it's going to outperform everything else in the market by 5.5 percentage points, 10%. So it will outperform Solana and XRP and Cardano and the rest of the market. It will outperform them over the next 7 months. So if you have $1,000, $2,000 to put into crypto, where are your assets best off being? Well, if we stick to this and we stick to this line, then we're going to go to 60% on Bitcoin dominance, and Bitcoin therefore is going to outperform in general the rest of the market. So why would you have a portfolio of Cardano, XRP, AVAX, Solana, Ethereum? Why would you have that if you know Bitcoin is going to perform so much better over the course of the next 7 months? That's a question for you to answer, not one for me to answer. Good morning, Danny. Welcome to the stream. Remember, if you are in chat, say hello. Let me know where you are. Let me know what you are up to. The poll isn't changing. Trump is still in the lead, 89% on who will be the next president of the USA, 11% for Biden. So that's the first one, and that's the one we've covered before. Now we've got 2 other charts. Now I know Peter is a fan of gold in chat, and I am a fan of gold and silver because silver is one of those precious metals that's used in a lot of things that you probably don't realize. Now, the gold chart is the one that Peter Schiff, who you may have heard of. Peter Schiff is a big gold maxi on X, and he likes to troll the Bitcoin maxis. And we've talked about him before. Only you mentioned, I think, that he regrets not buying Bitcoin. He's been trolling Bitcoin since Bitcoin was $1,000. Now, how well would your investment have done if you'd have invested $1,000 into gold and $1,000 into Bitcoin over this period of time? So we're going to zoom out a little bit. Let's go to the weekly to start with, just to show you. It's difficult to do because the chart is so poor. The gold dominance or the gold performance against Bitcoin has been fairly staggering. So if you'd have bought gold against Bitcoin from January last year, you would have lost. Now let's see if I can remember how to do this. 1 second. I'm going to figure it out eventually. Never mind. I can't replicate it on here. I think the chart has changed a little bit. Basically, you have lost 66%. I've put this chart up on X yesterday, so it is there. You've lost 67% against gold over the last year and a half. So if you'd have put, another way to look at it, you can now buy 3 times as much gold with your Bitcoin as you could at the beginning of last year. So you could now buy 3 ounces of gold for 1 ounce of gold last year. That is how poorly gold has performed against Bitcoin. It hasn't. And the problem is, for people like Peter Schiff, Peter Schiff will highlight this line here, and he will highlight this line here, and this line here, and he highlights all the very short-term moves that gold makes against Bitcoin. And then what he will do is he will say that gold is up 20% against Bitcoin over the last 3 months. But what he fails to mention is that as an investment over the last 18 months, you have actually lost dramatically against Bitcoin. How many Bitcoin do I think you would need for retirement if I was to retire in 11 years? 1. In 11 years' time, I think you'd need 1 Bitcoin. You'd be looking at, let's say, 60% inflation over 11 years, compound. So if you needed $3 million to retire today, you would need $4.5 million, $5 million to retire in 11 years' time, for argument's sake. Do I think Bitcoin will be somewhere near $4 or $5 million in 11 years' time? Probably yes, I do. I think we'll hit $1 million within the next, depending on inflation, probably within the next 8 or 9 years, I think. And then it will go up exponentially. But I do think in 11 years' time, you'd only need 1, because there will be more. Rather than thinking about just holding the asset, think about the fact that over the next 11 years, there's going to be yield-bearing tools where you will be able to lend out your Bitcoin. So if we're at $3 million in 11 years' time, and you could get, say, 3 or 4% APR on that, you'd be looking at $90,000 to $120,000. At today's rate, that'd be about $80,000. So you're earning a good income just from having 1. But again, all depends how much you need. If you've paid off your mortgage in 11 years' time, you need considerably less. So I don't really have a mortgage anymore, so I need considerably less than I would do if I had a $3,000 or $4,000 a month mortgage. But I'd say 1. I think your goal in life should be to own 1 Bitcoin. And if you can't, and you can't afford that, and you can own 0.1, do that. If you can't afford 0.1, own 0.01, but own some level of Bitcoin. That should be your goal. And if you have to trade alts, if you have to trade meme coins, if you have to trade all of these other coins to get there, then so be it. So that's the performance of gold. Gold has lost 66%. And even though I couldn't draw the actual thing I wanted to draw, it doesn't really matter. Now, this is the performance of silver over the same period of time. And we can go back even further if you want. I mean, we can keep going back all the way up here. I mean, silver has lost even more of its value if you want to do that and go all the way up there. So had you invested in gold and had you invested in silver, your Bitcoin would have been 3 times more profitable over the course of the last 18 months. Now, again, I don't want to go back too far. There's no point in me going back 14 years because Bitcoin has appreciated in value 160,000%, and it's not fair. You have to kind of pick a more recent price for Bitcoin. Well, then you might say, well, how about the price of gold? If you go back to 2008, when we had the subprime mortgage crisis. Well, if we do that, then Bitcoin has annihilated gold, even though gold has 7x'd since 2008 to silver. RGJ, because I think that's a fair place to start. And yes, we've had a cycle down here where silver has appreciated in value, which is this area here, but that coincides with our bear market. And I don't want to go back and just pick the worst performance. I want to pick it from the start of the year to the end of the year. So silver has, yet again, I am going to figure this out if it kills me. 1 second. I think it is something. Never mind. I can't remember how to do it. Again, I've tweeted this out as well. It's 67% down against Bitcoin. So again, you can get 3 times as much silver today for your Bitcoin than you could at the start of last year. And again, what do the silver maxis point out? They point out these movements. These movements here is what they point out. And they never point out the previous dump, the previous action where it comes down, it drops. They go very, very quiet, and there are more dips than peaks in the silver versus Bitcoin analogy. So as an investment, would you be better off investing in silver or gold or Bitcoin over the last 18 months? The answer is Bitcoin. Will you be better off investing in silver, gold or Bitcoin over the next 11 years? Bitcoin. Again, that's a slightly unfair comparison because gold is at such a market cap, it's very difficult for it to move that much. We know that. Bitcoin is playing catch up. We know that. When Bitcoin gets to somewhere near the market cap of gold, it will also not act the way it is acting today. The market is expanding. The price of Bitcoin is rising to meet its scarcity versus demand. We know all of these things. But as a single fact of investing in silver, gold and Bitcoin, Bitcoin will have outperformed silver and gold substantially over the last 18 months. And I do hold some gold, I do hold some silver, but I own substantially more Bitcoin than either of them. And in your portfolio, gold has always been a good investment to have. It's a good inflation hedge. It's a good flight to safety currency to have. Some people say 3, some people say 5% of your portfolio should be gold, but it's broken down, especially since 2008, subprime mortgage. It's had its rally up, and since then it hasn't moved. One other interesting fact, Bitcoin has not put in an all-time high if you take into account inflation. There you go. I'm going to try and get a graph about that later on. Maybe for tomorrow, maybe for Monday, but I will try and get a graph about that. Now, this is the news that only you mentioned could trigger the next leg up. And that is the SEC has told spot Ethereum ETF issues to get first round of draft S1 forms in by Friday. Now, Wednesday night, BlackRock was the first company to submit their S1. Some went in yesterday. Today is the deadline. Now, again, it may take a few weeks before the S1 forms become effective and trading can begin. So, a few weeks. Should we say July the 4th? Should we say July the 4th? By the way, how are the adverts doing? Are the adverts any better? Are we seeing less adverts today? That would be good to know. The march to get the spot Ethereum ETF approved for trading is well underway, with all eyes on the S1 forms. The 19B4s were approved on May the 23rd. The S1 forms were not prepared in advance, yet progress is now being made. So they need to hand the S1s in. On May the 30th, which was yesterday, BlackRock submitted theirs. On May the 30th, BlackRock followed suit, detailing that its ETF would be seeded with $10 million. That's a drop in the ocean, an absolute drop in the ocean. The details of the seed investment are fairly straightforward. For an issuer to include, one source told The Block, implying that other aspects of the forms might take longer to address. They said that they expect the S1 forms to go through at least 2 more rounds of draft filings before they will be ready. Again, July the 4th. That's my betting. Analysts anticipate the S1s will take a few weeks to be turned around, potentially a few months if the process goes slowly. It will not go slowly. There is so much political pressure on the SEC from the Democrats to get this done. What would a few months take us to? July, August, maybe September? When is the presidential election? November the 5th. So, August, September and October are going to be the months where the battlegrounds will be drawn and the fighting will begin. Where then do you think these ETFs are going to be approved? Do you think they're going to be approved in August and September? No. July. And July the 4th for me would be the headline, because I can just see the Democrats now coming out and saying, Independence Day, we're giving you crypto independence, some other BS like that. I don't know, something like that. But that's what I see happening. And it's the next bit of bullish news as far as I can see. All we need now is for Biden to come out and say, you know what? I like Ethereums. I like Ethereums on my cereals in the mornings. Good morning, Diabelski, should I say. Welcome to the stream. Good morning, Tariq. Now then, the SEC Commissioner. I don't want this advert. Hang on 1 second. There we go. So the SEC Commissioner proposes cross-border sandbox for US and UK crypto industries. Why do you think Hester Peirce is asking for this? Because if you are a US-based crypto firm and you will go through a period of expansion into different territories, the first place you are going to go is the UK. Irrespective of what you think about the country, you think about its politics, it will be the next move. We've already seen multiple USA-based crypto companies moving to the UK. So why would Hester Peirce pick the UK? Number one, it's not a basket case in terms of its politics and in terms of its regulation, Number two, it's where all the US companies are going to go first. So it's logical they pick the UK. Also, the UK is one of the leading countries on AI. I mean, if you've not read about the AI armies, the AI technology that the UK is working on, you need to look at it. They're building an army, and they're building an AI army. And it's an AI army, it's AI drones. They've built lasers that can be mounted on battleships. It's that in terms of technological advancement, the UK is head and shoulders above anybody else in Europe. If you look at Germany, Germany is ruined. Germany put its trust in manufacturing, hasn't got a tech sector, it's going to crumble. The UK, even for all of its faults, is still pressing ahead with its tech development. And if you look at the AI side of things, which obviously we're all interested in because we like AI, China, the USA and the UK have all created a committee to work on controlling AI. And where was the first meeting? The first meeting was in London with Rishi Sunak, Elon Musk, China and America. So the issues are the world is changing and AI is going to cause the biggest change. The world in 5 years' time will look mighty different to now. And AI is going to be the instigator of that, whether we like it or not. But it's not the end of the world. We're not going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger walking down the road. We're not going to see people made of metal going through fences or anything like that. But in terms of what AI can build, in terms of what AI can do, we are getting to the point where it's becoming efficient to use it in industries and sectors. And that's where we're getting to. So Hester Peirce, going all the way back to crypto, because crypto is the reason we're here. Crypto is going to be heavily based in the UK and America and Singapore and Hong Kong, as well as China and Russia. So it makes perfect sense that this is going to happen, but it's also a sign that America is afraid that a lot of American companies are going to go to the UK. If you're an American company, where is the first place you would move your business? Is it France? Is it Germany? Is it Hong Kong? Is it Singapore, or is it the UK? It's going to be the UK because of the language, because of the finance industry there, because of the transport links, the communication, everything about it ticks all the boxes. And for this to happen, she understands that the UK actually has a better crypto regulation system in place than America. So she's suggesting this simply to tap into the fact that she has somebody sensible to talk to and work with in the UK. She can't go to the government in America. She can't go to Gary Gensler because they're anti-crypto. Everything's a security. You order a coffee, it's a security. You go and eat a sandwich in the street, you've just consumed a security. Everything's a security as far as the SEC is concerned. She is the only sensible voice left in that department. And that's why Trump will come in and wipe them all out and probably put her in charge. So this is great news for the UK. It's great news for America. And what do we want? We want regulation and adoption. And thirdly, interoperability. But it doesn't sound as good when you say that. So adoption and regulation. This is exactly what we want. Building a regulatory framework. What will happen when this regulatory framework is built is it will be adopted by other countries. Why go to the trouble and expense of creating your own regulatory framework if America and the UK write one? Look at the European Court of Human Rights. Look at the law behind the European Court of Human Rights. That's not their law. They took it from the UK. Why rewrite laws? Why rewrite things when it's already done for you? If I was a nation, a sovereign nation, and the UK and the USA drew up a regulatory framework, I would literally copy it and sign it off. Because the effort, time, and expense going into it is too much for most countries to bother with. And the other thing about this is, it also takes it out of the hands of the EU, because the EU is a basket case again. They are trying, and again, this isn't crypto related, but they are trying to decide on what they believe to be misinformation. That's all I'll leave it at. And it's nobody's right to tell you what you can and cannot read, how bad it is. And that's another issue with a lot of these blocks who believe they know better than you and forget that you are actually in control, not them. Now, anyway, what we're going to do now is we are going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to go into a DeFi deep dive. And the reason we're going into a DeFi deep dive is because we haven't done it for a while. I want to kind of give you a brief overview of DeFi Llama. And when you go and do your research, and when you want to go and like look at different chains and how well chains are performing or tools on those chains, I always start with DeFi Llama if it's on a chain level. If it's on a coin level, I always look at Dex Screener or Dex Tools, because that gives you the breakdown of the tokenomics and everything else. Now, I've got a message from Peter telling me about a coin called Wing. I will have a look. Germany is definitely going to hit the ground real soon. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Disclosure Crypto, anything on Gary? Well, Gary is a friend of the channel. We like Gary, but we haven't covered it for a while. So let's move on. So first of all, DEX's volume by chain. This is the volume of transactions by blockchain. Now you're going to see the usual suspects up here. You're going to see Ethereum. You're probably going to see Solana and a few others. But this gives you an idea of the volumes by chain. 24-hour volume, 7-day volume, percentage of total. So Ethereum, no matter what people say about Solana and everything else, Ethereum still has the liquidity. It's still the number one. We talked about Bitcoin the other day, and I was saying, you know, there are faster chains. There are chains with more layer 2s. There are chains with more dApps on them. But Bitcoin is Bitcoin. When it comes to DeFi, Ethereum is still Ethereum. Why is Ethereum going to be used by BlackRock? Why is Ethereum going to be used by Goldman Sachs? Why are traditional finance going to use Ethereum? because it's the OG DeFi platform. It never goes down. They don't care about the cost of transactions. They have layer 2s coming out of the wazoo. Arbitrum, Optimism, Matic. On the gaming side, you have other layer 2s. You've got everything going on Ethereum. It's created and set up and built to be the OG. Solana is the pretender to the throne, and it's done exceptionally well. Don't think because Solana is only doing 25% of the volume that it's a failure. It wasn't even in the top 10 probably 2 or 3 years ago. It's come from nowhere. Now, what's interesting is not necessarily Solana, but you look down this list and the one that screams out to me is Base. Base is a layer 2 on Ethereum. Look at its volume. Now, what's important about that is, if you're going to go and look at chains to maybe get some hidden gems, this is the total DEX volume of those chains. So Solana, 1.28 billion. It's clearly going to be Radium, Orca, and Jupiter, which is an aggregator. But then you've got Base. What DEXs are there on Base that you would maybe want to go and tap into? Well, we can thank Peter for that because I covered it in a video, and that would be Aero. Aero is doing great numbers. There are loads of arguments against why people aren't going to use Base. Base is going to be a big chain. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. Then, of course, we have Binance Smart Chain. We've got Sui in there. Of course, we've got Optimism Layer 2. Avalanche is disappointing. I will admit, I think that's disappointing for a Layer 1 especially. Further down here, you've got Mantle, which you've probably heard of before. Aptos is down here. Blast is down here. Blast is fairly new. Ton is down here. But really, you've probably got 4 major players: Ethereum, Solana, Arbitrum, and Base. Arbitrum and Base are layer 2s of Ethereum. If you combine it all together, Ethereum is probably 80% of the market. So that's a good place to start. Not necessarily because of Ethereum, but because you can maybe identify a chain and say, why is Aptos doing 34% more volume this week than last? Why is Blast up 8.5%? Why is Cant up 22%? So you want to go and maybe investigate why these things are happening. Is there a new DEX on board? Is there more adoption on board? Go and have a look. Look at the DEX TVL as well. That's important. You can't quite see it on the screen, but Ethereum has at 8.6. Solana is 1.7. But underneath, you've got Base at 1, Arbitrum at 1.3. If we go down and add in Polygon at 200, you've still got Ethereum being the major OG there. So that's the top layer. Now, the next thing to bear in mind, and again, something which a lot of people don't ever consider, and I've mentioned this before, these are the fees generated by chains. Fees. How much is this business making? That's how to look at it. Ethereum, over the last 30 days, again, if I make this a little bit smaller, it's not going to fit. Maybe if I make it a little bit bigger, there we go. Now, does that fit on the screen now? Let's have a look. I've made it smaller. Yeah, it's not going to fit, however I do it. So Ethereum has generated in 1 month $122 million in fees. Ethena is coming in second place with a measly 18.17 over 30 days. But go down to Solana, for example. Solana has generated 42 million. In fact, I'm going to order this if I can. There we go. Okay, now I've ordered this by fees, we can see, by 30 days. So Ethereum has generated 121, Lido 86, Uniswap 62, Bitcoin $60 million in the last 30 days, and Solana $42 million. So Ethereum is generating 3 times the fees of Solana. When you're making more money and you have more money to spend and you have more money you can inject into different projects, into different initiatives, that has been my worry about Solana for a long time. The amount of development going on Bitcoin compared to the amount of development going on Ethereum, and compared to Solana. Solana just doesn't have the money of Ethereum, and maybe that's not going to matter. Maybe that doesn't matter because it's just going to grow exponentially over the next 2 or 3 years anyway, and it will potentially catch up. But you've got Uniswap. Uniswap is generating more fees than Bitcoin. Lido is generating more fees than Bitcoin and Solana. So these are good indications of profit-making chains and profit-making businesses, if you want to call them that. And it's something to look at and something to keep an eye on again. Now, the next thing, there's only 2 more of these, and that's stable coins. And we're also going to look at the aggregators, and that's Jupiter and a few others. So the total stablecoin market cap is coming in at 160 billion. Look at the Ethereum dominance. Ethereum dominates the DeFi sector in the same way that Bitcoin dominates crypto. 50% of all stablecoins are on Ethereum. So 50% of all liquidity is on Ethereum. Why is Polygon creating the Ag layer? To pool liquidity, to tap into Ethereum, Optimism, Arbitrum, of course Matic, bringing them all together. That's what's important, because if you're going to be BlackRock and you're going to follow the money, you're going to go where the money is. The money's on Ethereum. It's expensive, yes, but that graph says it all. 50% on Ethereum. I do worry about Tron because I just don't believe those numbers. I've never believed Tron. I'm not going to say that Tron is I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. I'm not saying that they are, rinsing anything or doing anything naughty, but I find it hard to believe that 35% of Tron 35% of the stable coin market is in Tron. I find that very hard to believe. However, here is your top stables: Ethereum 80 billion, Tron 56. Let's take that out of the equation. Arbitrum, again, look at Base. Base is there again. And look at Solana. Solana, the all-singing, all-dancing degen chain that everybody uses for absolutely everything, it's only 6th. It's not only behind Ethereum and Binance, it's behind 2 of Ethereum's layer 2s. So again, Ethereum head and shoulders above Solana on this metric. And again, lots of Ethereum-based projects have really high values compared to Solana-based projects. And this is one of the primary reasons. There's just so much liquidity on Ethereum. There's so much money there, so many people using the DeFi elements. Doesn't mean Solana is a bad chain, doesn't mean Solana is dying. It just means that Solana isn't necessarily the king of the jungle. It's more like a panther rather than the lion. And of course, Avalanche is doing well. Polygon is up there. Optimism, again. All of these chains are layer 2s, highly associated with what goes on in Ethereum. So they will be up there just by association. Now then, aggregators volume. This is where it gets interesting because tables have been turned somewhat. And that is, if you look at the one unicorn, the one giant is Jupiter. It's only on one chain for now. It's doing better than everybody else put together. And I'm trying to get the volumes on here. Here we go. Right, okay. So the volume of Jupiter is more. Let's get, okay. So the total volume in 24 hours is 1.58 billion. The volume on Jupiter is 1.05 billion. 2/3 of all the volume is Jupiter. It's on Solana. It's the project on Solana. It's the coin to hold on Solana. 1inch is up there. Obviously, many people will have heard of 1inch, multiple chains again. Aggregator, 0x Aggregator, that's up there. That's got multiple chains as well. Kyber is up there, Magpie, but they don't really compete. Jupiter goes toe to toe with Uniswap, and Uniswap is the OG. Jupiter didn't really exist as a project 3 years ago. Like, it did, but it didn't really, not compared to what it is now. So, in my opinion, a great deal of the value in Solana is not in meme coins, it's not in NFTs, it's in Jupiter. And the trading of memes, yes, the trading of NFTs has got nothing to do with Jupiter. That'd be Magic Eden, places like that. So for me, Jupiter is the coin to hold. And I think it's criminally undervalued because of the revenue it's generated. Also, they are generating, also they've started a thing called GUM. GUM will try and bring real world assets to Solana. Now, this to me appears like a reaction to Ondo and BlackRock and Build. And I think Jupiter have already brought in 7 or 8 different partners in different markets. I know Peter likes real estate. There's real estate in there. There's stocks and shares in there. There's lots going in there. If Jupiter pulls this off, it is going to be one of the biggest projects in crypto. If they pull it off, there's a whole world of pain as far as regulation is concerned that they have to get around. Maybe by bringing in the partners that already have the licenses, all they're going to do, they're an aggregator here, by the way. Jupiter aggregates the pools from Raydium and Orca and then gives you the best price, the fastest price, whatever it might be. If they can aggregate all of these real world assets under one umbrella, which is Jupiter, then this coin is going to be stratospherically higher than it is now. But they have to pull it off. And again, the potential of what they can do is incredibly high. But remember, potential is speculation. It's not fact. The only fact I can give you is they're doing more than everybody else put together on fees compared to Bitcoin. Yes, we are back. Perfect. Okay, so Avalanche has decreased staking requirements to build new subnets. Now, negative way. I don't necessarily want to poo-poo AVAX because I actually quite like it as a chain. But why are they doing it? That's the question. So Avalanche will decrease the requirements for... Let's see. Okay, we're back. Yeah, we're lagging a little bit. I don't know why. I wouldn't swap from Avalanche to Sui. When I'm 50-50, what I tend to do is split. So, for example, if you've got $500 in Avalanche and you want to jump onto the Sui narrative, I would split your investment in half and do 50-50 in Avalanche and Sui. I sold half of my Algorand and I bought Near Protocol with that. So now I've got 50% in Near, 50% in Algorand. That's what I tend to do. I'm just watching the clock. The clock in the top right-hand corner, when it stops ticking, I know I'm lagging. So I appear to have lagged for the last couple of minutes. So I do apologise. Okay, so Avalanche has done this. Do we think this is a good move? I think this is a good move. I think having the 2,000 AVAX per validator minimum probably harks back to when they were at a cheaper price. Obviously, the price has ramped up. It got above $40. And again, this is just a deterrent. And you don't really want deterrents. You want to bring people in to build on your platform. You don't want people to come in and have to put $70,000 or $100,000 up front before you can actually start to build. So again, it's a good move for me. I think Avalanche needs to be making itself more available. I need to see more people getting into Avalanche. Now, we're going to show you the chart of Avalanche because it's quite interesting. And the reason it's quite interesting is this. This is endemic of a lot of different projects at this moment in time. And that is that lots of projects have broken below its support band, and look, they are all struggling to get back above. Now, two things again from this. The bull market support band is there to be, or show you, bullish or bearish action for the coin. Now, look at this. This is what AVAX did for, let's take this, from May until November. What's that? 6 months. It was stuck. And then it broke out, and what did it do? It went absolutely stratospheric. Okay? Look where we are now. We're stuck below the bull market support band. Here. And we've been here since the 12th of April. So what's that? 6 weeks, 7 weeks? So what's likely to happen, in my opinion, is that over the course of the next few weeks, I expect a breakout. And I expect us to retest this level here, which is $56. Now, and that's a big thing to say because we're only at $36. But news like what we've just heard will lead to more game developers going, you know what, we're going to do that. More announcements will come out, and one announcement is going to be the spark that lights the tinder. Because nothing sits down here in a bull market forever. To be below the bull market support band at this phase is not unusual. There's lots of other coins that are there right now. So again, expect a breakup, expect $56. $56 from here is what? That's about a 50% move to the upside for AVAX. And I do hold AVAX. I hold the smallest amount of AVAX. I think I've got, I don't even know if I've got 10 AVAX. So keep your eye on that. It's a possibility. Now, the headline of the day. Venus de Milo becomes Venus de Millionaire. Why am I showing you this? Because I've reviewed it. And I think this is a solid project. And I'm going to be honest, before it was mentioned in chat, I'd never heard of it. And it has its own coin, which is is it XVR, I believe, or XVS is the name of the coin. This is an algorithmic money-making platform, and it's decentralized, and it aims to stay decentralized, and it is community-driven. Now, the value in this project is in what it can do. Compound, which is a similar type of project to this, it fails because it's centralized. It's owned by VCs and it's owned by big players. Venus isn't. It's a place where you can stake your assets, get your collateral, turn that collateral into stable coins, and go and, you know, spend it on other coins, whatever it might be. But the numbers are really impressive. 2.5 billion market size. Total borrowed 781 million. Total liquidity 1.7 billion. These are not rookie numbers, and they do make markets for the Ethereum chain and the Binance Smart Chain. So Ethereum, of course, we've talked about it being for, you know, traditional finance, big players. Binance Smart Chain, quick, cheap, effective. So it's available on 2 chains, and I think that's the right way to do it. They're also launching on other layer 2s on Ethereum. So it's going to grow over time. It's going to become a bigger project. Now, it's only valued, I believe, at $150 million. So it's got a very low market cap. I think it could easily 10x. I'm not saying it's going to 10x today or tomorrow. Over the course of the bull run, I think it can. Why? Because as these assets grow in value, the fees that Venus earns will also grow in value. Very similar to how we talk about DEX volumes. DEX volumes bring more revenue to those apps the higher the price. 0.1% or 0.05% of a transaction of Bitcoin at $68,000 is a lot less than 0.05% of a transaction in Bitcoin at $200,000, clearly. So it will make 3 times the revenue over the bull run. This is the same. The fees that you will be able to command on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB during the bull run will be 3 or 4 times higher than the fees you can command today. Those fees, through economies of scale, will grow the company and add so much more value to the coin than it's got today. I believe the coin is at about $10. It will grow substantially. My target was $50 to $100. That's wholly dependent on how the Ethereum ETF takes off. That's why I don't like these people that say Bitcoin is going to go anywhere between $80,000 and $500,000. I get that. But again, I said before the Bitcoin ETF, I don't know what effect the Bitcoin ETF is going to have on the price of Bitcoin. We've seen the price, the effect it's had on the price. Ethereum is likely to go to $6,000 or $7,000, maybe $8,000. If that happens, then the fees generated by Venus will exponentially go up. And that will allow them to either expand or add value to their project and therefore add value to the token. So this is a bull run project. Now remember, in a bear market, you don't want to be holding on to DEX coins. You don't want to be holding on to DeFi coins. You don't want to be holding on to these Venus coins. Because in a bear market, if the price does retrace 60, 70, 80%, the revenue of these tokens will fall by 60, 70, 80%. The same with holding Aero, the base 2 DEX. If you hold that token through the bull run and into the bear market, its fees will drop. There is an argument that more people will be in crypto in 3 or 4 years' time. Yes, I get that. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's going to fall in value. So for me, Venus would be a bull run token, not a token that I personally would hold through the bear market. I would sell at the top, and then during the bear market, maybe it comes down to $4, maybe it comes down to $5. That's when I would buy the coin in preparation for the next bull run. That's how I would play this game. Now, this coin is available on all major exchanges, as far as I'm aware. So you can go and buy this token. It's not financial advice. Go and have a look at it yourself. If you don't think it's worth it, don't go for it. But I think it's a bit of a gem. The same way that I thought Aero was a bit of a gem on the base layer 2. So there's lots of good projects out there. It's your decision which ones that you're going to hold. You can't hold all of them, because as I say in a lot of my videos, you have to monitor the movements of each of these projects. If you hold 200 projects, how are you going to keep up? Yes, you can hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, Cardano, XRP, I get that. But if you've got 100 projects like Venus in your portfolio, how are you ever going to monitor their metrics? How are you going to monitor their developments? How are you going to monitor their announcements? It becomes a full-time job. And if you're not full-time in crypto and you're only here for a few hours a day or a few hours a week, it can't be done. So be careful that you don't jump in too deeply with too many coins. As I say, I've got probably 8 or 10 tokens now. That's it in my portfolio. I know some of you have got 50 or 60, and that is manageable if you can maintain them. If you can't, you should consider compressing your portfolio and not being caught out, because you don't know. AVAX could drop 60% tomorrow because it gets hacked, and you won't know about that hack until 3 days later because you didn't read about it, because you don't have enough time. Then you've got a problem. Or AVAX is announcing a new project that you don't believe in. You want to sell those tokens. A token unlock might happen. Like with Arbitrum, we saw the price of Arbitrum drop 60%. If you're not on top of all of these things, you're going to get caught holding the bag, and you don't want to do that. Anyway, that is it for the end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Oh, the poll. Who will be the next president of America? 83% have said Trump. 17% have said Biden. Well, there you go. I think that sums up the chances that Trump has of winning this next election. I think he has got many more people voting for him today than he would have had 24 hours ago. Again, have a great Friday. We are back tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We're in the studio. Myself and the Oracle will be there. The 1st of June. Come and join us if you can for the weekend. If you can't and you're going to go away for the weekend or you're just going to relax and have some fun, feel free to join us on Monday. I will be live at 11 o'clock on Monday. Thank you, Diabelski. Tartarland is an easier way to say. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for coming. What's Bitcoin at? Did we really fall below 68,000 while I was on stream? We were doing so well. This is why we can't have nice things. Anyway, have a great weekend all, and I will see you all on Monday or tomorrow. Christopher, you've told me that before. The Venus... Oh, 1 second. I think it's XVS or XVR. I'll put it in TG for you, Tariq. Anyway, take care, everyone. See you all soon.